let's just do a regular tile today and just, you know, follow the steps of Zentangle and enjoy the process. Start with our pencil, and using the pencil, we'll put in our corner dots. So I'm going to put mine in pretty dark. You don't need to do yours quite so dark, just so you can see them. So our first step in Zentangle is to take a moment and take a breath and relax and focus on what we're doing. So then the second step is the 4 corner dots, and then we're going to join our dots. These lines don't have to be straight, they can be wonky. And then we're going to put in a string. And I'm not all that creative all the time when it comes to putting in strings, but and to be truthfully honest, I have not got this tile 100% planned out. So we're going to just do a little bit of winging. I'm going to go across the top. I'm going to put a line. And then in our larger space down at the bottom, I'm just going to do the regular Z that we normally do. So nothing too fancy on our string today. I'm going to put my pencil down and go back to, I'm going to use my Micron 01. A PN will be fine too. And the first tangle that we're going to do is Heart Rope by Bunny Wright. I'm going to work down my center of my Z. You can use any of the 3 lines though, would be fine. So I'm going to work on each side of the line. And it's just going to start with an angle, like the bottom half of a heart, if you were thinking of a heart. So just the point, just the 1 line. So that's what you just want to, so I'm using my Micron 01. And then I'm going to alternate coming down this line. I'm going to do, it's almost like a candy cane. I'm going to come like this on the one side. And then on the other side, I'm going to go back the other way, keeping my lines about the same length. So I'm going to come down. So we're starting with a C shape ending into a pointed line. And I'm just working roughly down my line. So once we have our row of lines, and what we're going to do now is we're going to aura our lines. So we're just going to start at the top, and I'm going to just come in and do an aura on the back side of each line. You might want to watch a few. I'm just going to start there, and then I'm going to come around with an aura around my candy cane shape. And I'm just going to keep alternating that aura from one side to the next. I think I'm going to let my sneak right out of my border. Once you have 1 line of auras done, you're going to do a second line of auras. So I'm just going to go back to the top and start with a second line. And just let it, the line stop when it touches another line. And I'm going to do one more aura. If you're happy with how yours looks, you can stop. I'm thinking that's looking really good. So I'm going to leave it at that. And now I'm going to go back and color in the centers. Okay, so that was heart rope. And then the next tangle we're going to do is called Caught, C-A-U-G-H-T, and it's by Christine Reyes. And it is a grid tangle, so you can do it on either side. I'm going to pick this bigger area here because I think I know I like the amount of room for this. And I'm going to put in a grid. Outlining my area. And I'm going to do a fairly straight grid. And just looking at how much room I have, I think I'm going to divide it into about 3. What I'm going to be doing in here, let me just, we have our grid, and but you want to think of like working in 4 squares. So we have one, it's going to go this way. And really, actually, every other grid is going to be like that. And then I'm going to just turn it this way and do the ones facing the other way. So if you get little areas, you just kind of just roughly figure out where a heart would possibly be. Okay, now we're going to join these hearts together. So I'm going to go from the point to this heart and stop. And then I'm going to go from this heart to the middle, the top middle. And I'll just work backwards. So I'm, again, just going to do that for and then I'll turn it and do the same in the opposite direction. We're going to go. Now, the next step for this is at all of our intersections where there isn't a heart, we're going to put a little diamond. It's in the middle of 4 hearts. And along my top of my edge, it's just half of a diamond. And then we're just going to color those in. It's almost like rounding on floors. And you could actually do it as rounding, but I didn't want to do every section. So I thought it was easier if we marked them and then colored them in. You know, if you'd like to get fancy and come in and round off the corners on them, you could come in and do that. The next tangle we're going to do is called Heart Box. And it is, it's by Helen Williams. I was just thinking, I was tempted to just do it right below our, let's do it right below the one we've done and keeping the grid very similar. I'm just going to use the same. I know I'm only going to get a few in there, but that's okay. I'm going to turn my tile around so that I'm in the top right or left corner, sorry, top left corner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on, like it's a heart shape, but it's almost like doing a W. I'm going to start on the line and to come in with a heart shape and land on the line. So it's going to be a really wonky looking heart. And we're going to do that every other box, every other checker. So I'm just going to start on my top line. I'm going to hit the side line, do a little bump, hit the bottom line and come in and around and hit. So it's a very wonky looking heart. So I'm going to do every other one. So I would do the same in this one. So I'm going to start on the line, come around, hit my line, do a bump, hit my line, and end on side line. So now I'm going to do those in the mirror image. So in my other squares, it's instead of doing like a W, I'm going to do an M. So I'm going to start on my left line, come up and hit the line, do my bump, and come down and hit this line. Is everybody with me on this, I hope? So I'm starting almost where I ended my W and coming up and going to hit the line, do my bump, and end over there. And I have just a couple little squares that just have a little hook in them. Okay, so we started with our W's, and we put in our M's. So our grid should look something like this now. All right, and now we have two options. We could just fill in the whole background, and then you end up with the heart shapes. Or this is really fun, whereas you fill in the background, but you don't fill in above where the bumps are. You leave the bumps open. So I'm going to let you decide on yours. So on here, like I wouldn't fill in here because that's above my bump, but I would definitely fill in this section here. It's always easy to start with the full ones. So I did that side. I'm leaving that one open. And I'm going to do this side here. We'll move over to our long space at the that we initially put at the top of our tile. And for this area, we're going to do a tangle called Intwine. And it's by Elena. I don't have a last name, but you can find all these patterns definitely at tanglepatterns.com. Okay, so I'm going to just define my area. And I'm going to put a line down the middle as well. And I'm going to put dots on my middle line, and I'm going to leave a generous space, like a good ½ inch between my dots. These are just going to be a reference. Let's see for size wise, but just like a good generous ½ inch. I think I'm going to start at the bottom, and almost like the W's that we did in the last one by Helen Williams, we're going to kind of do the same. We're going to come up, the bottom one probably is not going to be a full one. So we're going to come up and hit our heart shape, but we're going to kind of come from here to here. We're not making a point at the bottom. Then we're going to continue that. Like the next one, we're going to start from there to there too and do the heart shape. Now there's lots of different ways we could fill this. So we started with our lines, with our dots, and then we did our partial heart shapes. So on this one, you could come in and you could, aura just one side and maybe do auras on the side of the hearts, or you could aura both sides and color in a heart at the bottom. I'm going to do this one where I've colored in the sides and I've just done an aura on one side, a double aura, and colored it in. So I'm going to say you can make a choice on that. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick one side and I'm going to do an aura. And I'll do a double aura. And then I'm going to color that in. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill in the sides. The tangle called Heartgram, but I thought it was kind of nice to have them on a little kind of stem or a branch. So you could just draw a branch. It could be a ribbon. Just put a little branch in there. I'm kind of ignoring, I have two sections. I'm just totally ignoring that. I'm just gonna work over this whole area. And I'm gonna aim to put 3 in here. So I'm just gonna roughly give myself like a dot, not right down to the bottom, and then maybe another one here and here, just to give myself an idea of where I'm gonna be placing them. So just from my V, or from my dot, I'm gonna put in the V shape. And then I'm going to come up and do the little curly Q, aiming for roughly the center on both sides. And then a little teardrop at the bottom. And then a closed aura. So we're going to start on the line, take off, and come back in and land at the point. We'll start on the line and take off and land at the point. And that's our basic shape. So I'm going to just do the next one. And maybe we'll just attach them like how they grow off the stems, right? They just attach to the stems. So we could finish the inside many different ways. Like we could do striping, or you could put so you could do striping, or you could put orbs in here, right? You could squish some orbs in. That would always look nice. Or you could stripe them, just, doing a few more auras following the shape. Actually, you could do it both 1/2 and 1/2. So I'm going to leave that up to you. And then you could also aura the bottom if you wanted to make it a little bigger. You could put a little aura around there. Okay, I think I'm going to do 1/2 and 1/2. I kind of like that. I'll do orbs on one side. We have a lot of filled in areas. So it's sometimes it's really nice to leave a little bit of white space. So don't be afraid of leaving white space. But if you want, you could always come up from the bottom with some, oh my gosh, what's the one we do all the time? The one that we build it like flux.
Fescue? Is it called fescue? Oh, that.
You could always do some of that along the bottom. I'm going to leave the white space. Yeah, not the fescue, but we do fescue with it. Oh my gosh. Lava. There we go. Megan had it. You put little fescues on the inside here. Add some weight to our stems. We'll just put some striping in it. So shading next. We'll start with the heart rope because that was the one that we did first. And I'm just going to grab my pencil. And I'm just going to do this really simply along where the joins are. I'm just going to put a little pencil. On both sides. If you haven't done this before with the shading, I use the side of the pencil, not the tip, and I just lightly rub it on. And then we're going to grab the tortillon, and I'm going to just gentle circles just to smudge it. I'm kind of coming up more than going over the tops. So even when I put my pencil down, I did cover the top of the loops, but I'm kind of pulling it more towards the straight edges. That looks good. On the cot, which was this one that the hearts went around in the circle, there's a couple different ways we could do it. We could outline each heart and then smudge around the hearts, and that will make the hearts look like they're coming up and forward, which, well, let's just go ahead and do it. I'm just going to just gently go around each of the hearts. I'm not going to put too much down because we want to leave, when we smudge this out, we don't want to go too far towards the edges because we want to leave white as well. But so I'm just roughly going around each of the hearts with the best part about doing the shading in Zentangle is that we don't worry about a light source. We just go for it. Okay, I'm liking it, but I'm thinking I might just pull my pencil very lightly, just covering the whole square. Keeping it darker around the heart and just very lightly. If I do this, then you can say, oh yeah, I'm going to do that, or no, I'm not going to do that. So you can see what it looks like. Okay, I'm liking that too. So I'm going to do something that might be a little scary, but along the edge of the heart rope, I'm going to come in with a lot of graphite. I'm going to just follow the edge of there, and I'm really putting it down heavy, going right over my hearts. What I'm hoping that this will make it look like it's really tucked up underneath the rope. Okay, so for the heart box, I'm just going to put a little crescent in each of the hearts. And using the tortillon, I'm just going to gentle circles, leaving white around the edges and kind of following the heart shape on the other side a bit too. I'm kind of aiming for something like this. So I'm going to just do very simple on the Intwine. I'm just going to just come down with my pencil right down the center line. And I'm not going to go too far with the smudging of it. I'm just going to soften it. So kind of make it look like it's folded down the center. Let's just pick a place to shadow or shade and just go for it. Like, so we just pick one, maybe the inside of the heart on this side, and maybe the outside over here. So I'm just kind of picking the inside and then the outside, kind of opposite kind of corners. I'm just using the graphite that's on my tortillon just to do a little underneath the bottom of the stem. Okay, So like I said, white space is okay. You don't have to be afraid of it. But if you want to, you could fill it in definitely with the lava. You could add, you know, put that in all around there, would look pretty good. Actually, it would look really good. So I'm going to call this one though for myself. I like it, and I like how it's I would think that that would be my top. So I'm going to put my initials. And then sign and date the back. And it's a good idea too sometimes is to write the names of the tangles on the back of your tile.